middle class holes, everyone. Murr, Allen, and Foxman throwing out $1 million ideas every time, every goddamn show we do. We're going to shift focus to a segment we like to call Nostradamus. And this week on Nostradamus, there's a 5,000-mile seaweed belt that's headed for the Sunshine State of Florida. Murr, give him the skinny.
Yeah.
Well, I think you pretty much gave him the skinny. Apparently, the climatologists of the world believe that the warming of the Earth's atmosphere, hence climate change, has shifted something also on the oceanic front. And these kelp belts, they often come loose, and they do often come ashore, but they've never been as big as this. 5,000 miles. That's almost the coastline of the entire eastern seaboard of the United States. Headed for Florida specifically. We know that Florida holds a special place in all of our hearts. But Nostradamus, I do have to know, is there more to the story than just a biological belt of seaweed coming adrift on the American shores?
Well, I'll tell you what. I saw this in a vision back in 1615 when I was in a K-hole at a rave in Budapest. And let me tell you, something told me that the state of Florida was going to make some questionable moral decisions that might lead them to an invasion of seaweed. And I think that's where we're at. We're really karma is what's at work here, I believe. And it sucks because that's a lot of kelp, and they have nice beaches. I want to go dip my toes in the sand, but what am I supposed to do? You can't even swim there now, I believe, right? Isn't that new shit?
I don't
go in the water.
I mean, it's
It's
Floridians,
toxic.
man.
That's
toxic. Toxic seaweed. Well, okay. Now, is it almost racist to go after Florida, since it was not only founded by the Spanish, but is also inhabited by essentially all Spanish-speaking people at this point?
Yeah, but as a Latino Nostradamus, we don't really claim them. They're mostly Cubans, and they're kind of all about it. So, that's okay. They're basically just white people. And we're cool with that. At least this Nostradamus is cool with it.
Now, Nostradamus, can you roll seaweed into cigars, which is what I feel like the Cubanos will be doing as soon as this stuff is made profitable in some capacity?
Oh, definitely. There will be a black market. It's probably open now. Honestly, the Cubans and the Haitians are probably going to run that up the flagpole, and you're going to see a lot of really musty fucking cigars in your local shops there in the next couple weeks. But crafty and industrial people are those minorities. So, yeah, good for them.
Nostradamus, I have a question. A 5,000-mile ring or belt of seaweed. Do you foresee that any of the hippy dippies who like to eat or spread seaweed over various food products, salads, subs, sandwiches, not Cubans, sandwiches.
No, definitely not.
Cubans won't allow that. But do you foresee it like the kale storm that took place 5 years ago? Do you foresee a seaweed storm in our diet anytime soon?
So, I would, under normal circumstances. But again, we're dealing with a unique creature in the state of Florida. Okay? If this was a 5,000-mile seaweed belt hitting fucking Orange County, California, then yeah, absolutely. That shit would be in your local Sweet Green tomorrow. And get you a bowl with some quinoa and some fucking fresh Pacific seaweed. But no, I don't believe so. I think they're gonna try to just blow it up, most likely. I think just fire and explosives is probably gonna be the MO. And then we go back to using the beaches and Floridaing it up. Just really doing some stuff. Being old, snowbirds, most likely Jewish, but hating other Jews. That's a lot of stuff going. A lot of layers of complexity down in the Florida population. But to answer your question, no. They eat meat. Fuck that seaweed.
Senior sex communities,
Yeah, senior sex communities and golf carts. Yeah, all types of stuff.
Now, are there any other implications for the the unsettlement, the migration of the kelp belt here? Is there a reason that beyond just climate change, could there possibly be an underwater settlement being developed, and due to renovations, they unlocked this kelp belt and it's now drifted ashore? Is there alien implication? Is there some sort of religious implication? Is it all just science, or is there more to the story?
No, I mean, you're on to something there, Andrew. Yeah, because look, I'll let you know a little secret. As the interest rates rise and property gets scarce on dry land, there's a lot of primo construction going on down in the underwater areas of the Caribbean. And so, yeah, you're right. A lot of terraforming the seabed requires cutting down forests of kelp and sending them towards the Florida coast. So, look, yeah, a little bit of climate change. Yeah, a little bit of a man-made fucking disaster. Shit in one hand, wish in the other, right? Doesn't really matter.
And then clap.
It doesn't really matter. Right?
Well, maybe it'll be blue. Maybe it'll be pink.
Maybe it could be purple. Who knows? Fuck. Florida will have a problem with it, though.
Nostradamus, are you familiar with the term or the figure of speech, the boy who cried wolf, or
Yes.
the person who cried wolf this day and age? Okay.
Yep.
So, according to scientists, this seaweed is going to emit, by virtue of its being stagnant and traveling and then washing ashore, very pungent gases. Do you foresee a situation where couples, particularly older couples, where the wives accuse the men of farting over and over and over again, and they say it wasn't me?
100%. I plan on blaming my own farts for kelp here shortly. Honestly, I think you should take up the same tactic. You get, while she's sleeping, just get real close, get in her mouth, and then be like, "It's the kelp. The kelp's coming up the seaboard, man. I can't help it. These noxious fumes coming out of all places because of this kelp."
And to piggyback on Wes's very scientific question, is this a huffable gas that could potentially, I don't know, replace some recreational drug use?
Look, the only gases allowed in Florida are huffable. Okay,
Fair enough.
so that's absolutely. Look, get you a plastic bag with some paper towels and just get it on in there and stick your head in. You'll be good to go. Easy peasy. Not a lot of accoutrement, not a lot of tools. Just very simple. Breathe deep breaths and trips to the netherworld.
Nostradamus, last question for me. I'll leave it to Murr after this.
Yeah.
They called, remember it was El Nino, and then there was something similar to it, I think 15 years after it, and then El Nino came back not too terribly long ago. Why did scientists not take advantage of an opportunity to give a phenomenon like this a name? Like El Seaweed or La Siwada?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, we understood, historians and people who pontificated about the future, such as I, we understood that introducing more than 2 Latino names into a predominantly white culture is a risky game. So we'll just keep it at seaweed, right? That just makes it easy for everybody. We don't want to scare a lot of people. It's already a concerning situation. There's no need to add layers of race into it or ethnicity.
Well, my final question actually has nothing to do with the seaweed. I would like to know exactly who you were jamming out with at this K-hole party in 1640s.
Oh, in the 1640s, it was like me. It was fucking. I don't even have fucking historically accurate fucking people. Was Napoleon around? I did not look up historically accurate celebrity names to name the celebrity name drop for you. But likewise, I was in a K-hole, so I don't remember.
Good point. It could have been anybody. Well done. Thank you, Nostradamus.
Perhaps it's when he crossed paths with the real Nostradamus.
Look, it was
This guy.
Look, it was 3 a.m. and the room was lit by candles. I don't really know what was happening. Just lots of people touching each other.
And I was lit by ketamine.
I was on horse tranquilizer, doing this.
They called it something else back then.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Something Tiger tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nostradamus. Appreciate the thoughts. And folks, if you're down in the Florida area and you have any intel, pictures, video, anything you got of this goddamn seaweed attack, they're not calling it a seaweed attack. It's a phenomenon for the most part. I mean,
Yeah,
right?
it is just kind of crazy as not Nostradamus.
Well,
But definitely Huff.
Actually, Nostradamus, one final question before you go.
Sorry.
How many Karens are going to be asking for refunds to resorts that had nothing to do with this natural phenomenon?
I'm not gonna lie. I think I already saw one on like Facebook. It was like, oh, my Disney trip is ruined now. And well, was it? Is that what ruined it? Was it the seaweed?
Or was
So,
it your whorish attitude?
all of them, all of the Karens are going to be very upset about not being able to stay in their timeshares in Kissimmee to go to Animal Kingdom for a day. It's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, that article definitely made note of it ruining vacations.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
14 times. It's going to ruin the summer. It's going to ruin the beach. Going to ruin the Florida. Everyone vacationing down there.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. They didn't need to like ruin. How about locals? How about people who fucking live there? How about Mexico? How about the Caribbean islands? You know, they made no mention of that. Florida's going to be ruined.
They were like, "You're not gonna be able to go to South Beach, fucking do ecstasy. What are we gonna do? Seaweed." That's all they got, though. Really, it's just vacations.
Yeah. Alrighty. Let's get to it. I think I'm feeling good about this week. The end of March, opening day today. I feel like this week was a good week of the Tearaway OMG fun facts.
Let's get to it. It's officially time for your amazing facts. Brought to you, of course, by our good friends over at the Shin Splints Recovery Group and our brand new friends at Flat Earth Science, Advocates for Truth. If you believe you have a whimsical theory about why the Earth is not a globe, please share your thoughts, share your links, share your research that you have none of. Make up some research and then share your research with the Flat Earth Science Advocates for Truth Club on Facebook. Let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. Did you know it's estimated that the Colosseum in Rome could hold up to 55,000 spectators, as many as Dodger Stadium can hold today?
Damn.
Damn, is right.
I didn't know the exact number, but if I knew it was just north of 50. And I think I saw that because I was genuinely curious about comparing, overlaying the Coliseum with modern day football stadiums, and they're actually pretty comparable. Some of these monstrous, Division I, like Big Ten or SEC football schools are just too much.
yeah.
But like some of the common NFL ones, like for instance, just a quarter to half mile away, M&T, it's pretty comparable. That fucker square footage and the overlay is right in there, except that's thousands of years older.
Well, we've got WrestleMania coming up, and I remember that the Pontiac Silverdome, like they set like a indoor attendance record with the WrestleMania 3 and with the Slam heard round the world with Hogan and Andre.
Yeah, and they lied about the attendance and
How many did they say it was? Like 120,000 or some shit?
94,000.
94,000. So that's double that.
It was probably someone did kind of a mini or a micro census where you take a small area and then you just kind of multiply it around. So it's probably more like 78 to 79,000.
Okay.
Still impressive.
Well, the reason I wonder about that is because when they show pictures of people who had the nosebleeds at the Pontiac Silverdome, you're talking about looking down at like the square footage of maybe like half a penny. Like you see like this little teeny tiny like if you were gonna like make the Pontiac Silverdome in a bottle, like that's what the wrestling ring would look like. And
Right.
I'm like, why? Is that enjoyable to watch?
No.
Would you even know somebody's like getting slammed? Like once Andre's back hits, it would take like 4 seconds for the sound to fucking reach your ears.
It's just tell your kid, that's Andre down there. Really? He's a giant? Sure is.
So what I'm getting at is if there's 2 guys in the middle of a sand pit with 4-foot fucking like daggers like ready to fucking ram through each other's hearts, I'd feel bad for the guy at the top who didn't get to see the blood spill because he was too far away.
And imagine they didn't have spectacles or any type of spectacles that we know about. For damn sure half that stadium was like squinting. What the hell? No contacts, nothing to help out.
Good
Maybe
point.
that's the survival of the fittest, unless back then most of those people just died off. I don't know.
That's possible.
And on that positive note, did you know in 2018 a study in the Journal of Pediatrics and Child Health concluded that it takes on average 1.71 days to poop out a swallowed Lego.
That's why it took so long when I was a kid. Jesus. Didn't know. I did swallow 2 Legos a few years apart. One was a complete accident. I was just farting around with my brother. It's like, be like, ha, go, oh, and tried to like kind of do the old like
Yeah, just
finger
let it
in
go.
there.
Just let it
Yeah.
go.
1.71 days. Damn.
Pointy edges, they ain't coming
Now,
out. That ain't coming
hold
out.
on. I have to modify this fact. That is a Lego head. Now, if you're aware, the Lego heads are kind of rounded off.
Yeah, that
They're,
comes out easy.
yeah, that's easy. Now, if you swallowed yourself like a 4x2, I
Yeah.
mean, now that you might feel that one on the way out.
You might feel that bitch on the way down, bro. What are you talking about? That shit is gonna hurt.
You're scraping esophagus and sphincter.
Yeah, you're like catching a fucking vocal cord on the way down. Like that's a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
I remember, I thought I almost died. I swallowed I was eating chips, and I guess I swallowed too soon, and it was Doritos, and it was like, I don't know, I'm going to say like a ½ inch by maybe a ½ inch, and somehow, instead of just like, going down like the right way, it went down like the pointed edge was at the front of my throat, and the other pointed edge was at the back of my throat, and I felt like someone was just literally like taking a 2-sided razor blade and just going straight down the inside of me. I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die from this.
I'm gonna die from this. Yep.
Damn you, Doritos. There was a mutual friend of ours, Teddy, who swallowed a beer cap.
Ugh.
Why?
I didn't really get to the why. I just assumed there was no good.
No, there's no good reason for it.
So, unless trying to impress a chick, I would be my guess. But I
was actually at a networking event last night. Yeah, and we were just pounding around with a couple buddies, and one's got a baby girl, and he was like, "Yeah, she swallowed a quarter, like recently." We were like, I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, did you find it? Like, did it come out?" And he was like, "Well, we didn't look too hard, but we assumed so." Yeah, it's like you're gonna get a call at like 21, and your daughter's in college. She's gonna be in an emergency room, like, "Dad, why is there a quarter in my fucking colon? I have to have emergency surgery."
I'm gonna have a kid come out like coming out with change in their hands.
Yeah.
I need to write in OMG fun facts, tell them how long it takes a quarter to digest. The better part of a decade.
Good God!
Crazy.
Thank God, my boy. Like, thankfully, mommy has scared him to death of germs, so he doesn't he's never put anything in his mouth that's been questionable. Thank God for that. Did you know? In the 1960s, Sean Connery's younger brother Neil, who was not an actor, agreed to star in a James Bond knockoff called Operation Kid Brother. In it, he played the younger brother of the UK's premier super spy, and his character's name was Dr. Neil Connery.
Damn, he looks just like him.
Damn. Didn't know that. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
this goes back to the old make that money, even
Old time Neil Connery looked like evil Sean Connery. Yeah, hold on.
It's just every famous, like royalty figure older brother has that fucking dickbag younger brother who fucking just goes to make the money.
So this is what he looks like, but like, tell me that's not fucking evil young Sean Connery.
Oh my God. He's got like all the like bad features
Yeah.
enhanced.
Like this is what they did to characters in that time period to make them evil. They gave him the pencil thin mustache and like the little dark goatee. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm trying to pinpoint who he looks like.
Right?
I think I got it.
Yeah. Oh, I had to come back. I thought something happened.
No,
No. I'm
waiting
just
on
like,
the screen share.
no.
Okay.
It's gonna be a fucking professional wrestler. I know. It's gonna be a professional wrestler manager.
Or a character like a character with 2 lines from a fucking movie from like 1994.
No,
Fucking
it's
volleyball or something.
it's Ben Kingsley.
Oh,
Oh yeah, okay, I can see that.
okay.
Yeah, okay.
I can see that. Yeah.
Just like that the one with the goatee to me. Like I was like, damn, that is kind of like Sean Connery and Ben Kingsley had a kid and they had a gender reveal party.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
It was like a kilt. It was a kilt colored.
I was like, yeah, how does that go down? What's that one like?
I don't know. Christ.
They flip those logs. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
the
yeah.
cabers, the caber toss. I always wanted to do the caber toss. It's got a
Yeah.
low center of gravity, and I'm kind of strong for my size. I want to
That's fair.
fucking flip that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Still getting
There's bagpipes just going on in the background.
Yep.
And my balls.
Or you bagpipes with the blue powder comes out of it.
Oh,
And I have a feeling when I toss that caber, all that jostling around, there's going to be a gender reveal party of my own going on.
that's where that quarter went.
Did you know? Where some people see an unremarkable traffic feature, the UK Roundabout Appreciation Society sees beauty, proclaiming the humble circular intersection as an oasis on a sea of tarmac. The UK RAS admires the beauty of roundabouts, big and small. The president of the association is called the Lord of the Rings. These fucking turds, man.
English people, man, I swear.
Dude, there is the most useless traffic circle inside it's a Cecil College like offshoot school, like a satellite school in Elkton, and for no reason at all, like there is a traffic circle in the parking lot, and I always just like don't use it. I just go straight left, just because there's no cars at all, because it's a parking lot for no one, because no one goes there. It's the most ridiculous thing. They're useless. Americans love to stop. Americans love to soft stop. Okay, we like to stop and go. We don't like the complete stop, and that's okay. Just be safe. Fucking traffic circles.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
But aren't the circles with the four way aren't they designed to be? And data shows that they're incredibly safe.
They're supposed to. Data shows that if used properly, a lot of these contraptions are wildly safe and wildly efficient. However, when you start to work in the modern American public who only backs up with their reverse camera and smashes into the bumpers of every car next to them, no, they're not working out so well. The zipper merge is supposed to be the most efficient merge in all the lands, but you've got twat bags who will ride around in fucking diesel trucks with balls hanging off the trailer hitch and smoke coming out of stacks that they've post-fabricated onto their trucks. They try to skirt traffic and get as far up in line as they can before they ram their fucking vehicle into line. Because what you gonna do? What you gonna do, brother? Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, that's an argument in this house because my wife don't believe in a zipper merge. And I'm like, bitch, it's common sense, goddammit. Like, just do it.
One on, one off, or one off, one on. However you want it to. Yeah, man. It boggles my mind that people
Like,
don't.
don't stop in the lane a fucking quarter mile back. Go to the front of the fucking line, goddammit, and everybody should just be nice. But no.
That's what I'm saying. And so when it comes to traffic circles, you've got some 80-year-old grandmother who actually looks through the steering wheel from below the steering wheel. She looks out the windshield from down here, and she's just like, you know what? I'm just going to be safe about this, and I'm going to stop and let all traffic go around the circle, whether they're turning or not. And then nobody goes anywhere. But yes, theoretically.
I appreciate your appreciation. That's such a good show.
I, too, am a Lord of the Ring. And finally.
Sang by Neil Connery, of course.
Duh.
I want to hear him talk now. I want to hear that guy like say something.
It's probably real nasally, I imagine.
James Bond. What was the name of the show? Pete Bond or something?
No, his last name was Connery. Dr. Neil Connery.
Oh, this was another one I missed over. Did you know Connery first got into bodybuilding?
No.
Yeah, this is kind of like pre-Mr. Universe. So when you see it now, it's going to be kind of somewhat unimpressive. But to what the aesthetic that they were going for back then, apparently he was not Mr. Universe impressive, but could place in a few bodybuilding shows impressive. It's still pretty impressive. And do you know he wore a hairpiece in Bond?
I do know that. I do know he hated it and he never wanted to wear it, but it was just like, all right, it's part of the character. As soon as he could take that thing off, he took it off.
James Bond ain't bald, Connery. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's like Ric Flair.
Unless like Yeah, you can't. He couldn't be like a Sean Connery bald. You got to just be. It's got to be bald, like full bald. If you're gonna give me a bald Bond, you know what I'm saying. You can't have any of like the little ring half.
Okay.
Like,
How about like Jason Statham? Could Jason Statham be a bald Bond for you?
yeah, that's a full bald, right? Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Like skinhead, fucking. You could be a Bond, but if you got like some scragglies or something, I'm supposed to believe you're a fucking debonair international ladies man spy. If you're male pattern balding, fuck off.
Right. Yeah. There's also a type. Like, I mean, you said Statham. Like, Bill Burr can't be Bond.
Yeah.
You can't have a Bill Burr like, hey, I'm
Exactly.
James Bond. Ha!
Yeah. Yeah, that would be terrible.
He's charming in his own way.
Yeah. Not James Bond.
Yes.
Maybe it's his younger brother.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
Neil
a-
Connery. You
It's more
twat.
like if James Bond was like a trash man from Boston. But also solved crimes, kind of.
It's kind of like that fucking Emilio Estevez Sean Connery movie, Men at Work.
Emilio Estevez. Wait, Sean Connery's in that? You mean Emilio Estevez?
No, he meant Emilio Estevez, and yeah.
But Emilio Estevez and Sean and Charlie Sheen, sorry.
Yes.
But they Men at Work, but they do get into like a crime thing, right?
Yes,
They're
yeah.
while they're throwing out trash, they come across like, ooh, this seems fishy. We should solve some crimes now.
That is a bad movie.
That's
That's a good bad movie.
That's never gonna. What? I don't know. I think it's bad, really bad.
It's inter fucking taining. When we get to my good bad movie, I will explain the difference between a good bad movie and a bad good movie. This was what I've experienced this past week. And finally, did you know? If you find yourself itchy after lying on grass, it's because you're slightly injured. Grass blades have trichomes, tiny hairs that can cause micro abrasions on the skin. When sweat seeps in, it's literally like pouring salt on a wound.
Yeah, I did know that. They're like grass lectins, Wes.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That's taking it back. Dr. Stephen Gundry.
Yeah.
With the tiny chemical razor blades in your diet, cutting your guts up. Aren't they worse elsewhere? Isn't the North American grass kind of subtle as opposed to some other?
Oh, I'm sure. We probably have a much less robust grass than most places in the world.
Well, I mean, if you go to like certain parts of like like Bigfoot country, let's call it, you probably find some grasses in there. But yeah, you can get you into some like African savanna grass and just. You might as well just amputate a fucking leg. Their shits are like baseball bats made of razor blades. Like, it's fucking insanity.
Yeah, I was watching a Naked and Afraid, and they were like, listen, don't touch this tree. And they're like, what? Like, you can't tell it, but if you touch this tree, you are going to be poisoned and you might die. Like,
Yeah.
don't even graze it. And yeah, like the bark's got like, yes, these micro fibers on it, and then they get into your skin. They creep and crawl in, and they got a poison, and they'll fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so America's pretty safe. Pretty.
That's like where fucking like antelope go to fucking avoid getting killed by lions because lions are like, fuck that grass, it's gonna fuck me up. Like, you know what I mean? It's that kind of shit. Like,
And one would think that the antelope is willing to put up with getting cut by this grass to avoid the lion, when in fact, Mother Nature has sunk in and evolution has taken its place, and the antelope are impervious to it.
yeah,
The skin-
that's how that shit goes.
Yeah.
It's like the Naked and Afraid. So this is a good point. Like, they always surround. If they're in Africa, they surround themselves with thorns, like thorny Eddie, because there's all types of fucking thorn bushes in fucking Africa. Everything's got thorns, and they do that shit. And they're like, yeah, because them leopards are cats and they're bitches. They won't walk in. They won't walk into thorns because they're like house cats, except huge. And that's how they do.
I just remember there was a time where I grabbed the blade of grass. Oh, this makes me squirm. I'm already rubbing my thumb too. I grabbed the blade of grass, this huge blade of grass, and I went to pull it, and my hand slipped up it, and it just razor bladed all the way down my thumb.
Yeah,
and
man.
oh god, I must have been like 8 or 9, and I fucking wince every time I think about it. So
It's a
thanks for
fucking-
that memory.
It's a paper cut from nature. It's fucking awful.
And it burned like a motherfucker, just like they're talking about.
Yeah.
But that, my friends, is your Fun Fact Friday.
It's good stuff.
All right. On to Nights Before You Go, folks. We try to give you about once every 4 to 6 weeks a good, bad movie review. Murr had a movie in mind, a very sound movie, a very, I would say, safe movie in the realm of good, bad movies. What was it? Underdog? No, was it? What did you have? Bench
Originally, I was picking binge warmers. Bitch warmers is something I watched this morning before the sun came up, if you know what I mean. Binge warmers starring Rob Schneider, the guy from Napoleon Dynamite, and David Spade. And then you guys brought up Drumline, and you were like, Alan said that should be a good, bad movie. And then I agreed with him. So I chose to watch Drumline as my good, bad movie for this week's review. Now, we didn't do any research when we made that decision to change things up. And if you go over to Rotten Tomatoes actually gives it a very favorable review, which I'm actually equally surprised by. So, either one of you guys watch Drumline?
I have seen it multiple times. I don't know why. So I did not rewatch it, but I'm pretty intimately aware of what happens in that film.
So
Wesley, have you?
I have watched it. I did not watch it in lieu of your recent curveball because I got about halfway through Benchwarmers and I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not watching Drumline. So I did the Cliff Notes version. I watched about 14 to 15 scenes on YouTube in order to bring myself back up to speed on the little nuances, read the plot, made a lot of sense. Some things I remember, some things I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Especially with Orlando, the Sprite guy.
It's Clifford Washington, right? That's his name from the fucking Replacements.
Yeah, as the band leader or conductor or whatever. Yeah, so yes, did not rewatch it, but I'm pretty up to speed.
Okay, well, I got to tell you, it's 82% fresh on the thermometer on Rotten Tomatoes, which this is the telling factor here, though. Only 70% for an audience score, so it's still fresh, but not quite as fresh as the critics might review it. I have some theories on that. Alan said that what was your exact quote about why you were glad I did this so that I'd have to watch a black movie? Is that
predominantly black movie? Yeah.
Which I have.
Your take on it?
I have no problem with it. The blackness of the movie. Here's what I'll say. It's done. One, I don't think critics were as critical of this particular film because of the era in which we were getting into back in the mid-2000s when this movie came out. What I'll say is it is a classic white coming-of-age story simply done like 10 years after most of your classic white coming-of-age movies. Almost like the black community was just like, yo, fuck those white movies about coming-of-age. They don't apply to us. But then you realize through watching Drumline that there is a universal point that is made in all of these types of films, that there is no racial barrier when it comes to coming of age. It's just this is the way it happens for everyone. And it's a very uniting film if you've never watched it. Nick Cannon plays a kind of a drumline aficionado. He's like the first round draft pick to an all-black school. He goes there. Of course, he's cocky, can't read music. But he's still the cock of the walk, baby. He's still the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the Bret Hart of drummers on the drum line. But he's got some growing up to do. You know, he's got to face up to the guy who used to be like him, who learns. They learn from each other. He's a hard ass to Nick Cannon, but Nick Cannon then learns that hard assiness is all about love. And he just needs to learn respect. Yeah. And that's what comes from this film.
Friends become enemies, enemies become friends.
Yeah. Yes, and giving away to the old way of thinking, because even Dr. Lee, played by Orlando Jones, he is stuck playing the classic hits, and finally learns through his students that maybe that this new age music that we've all begun to love, the pop music, if you will, it has some musical credibility, and maybe he too should embrace the new type of drum line that could be present if he would only change his old ways.
Yeah. It can't always be Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go to the Superdome in New Orleans and take your band, you better fucking play Petey Pablo, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Petey Pablo is going to perform with your band.
Petey Pablo is going to fucking come out with your band. It's gonna be a thing. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
it is actually not a terrible movie.
It's not. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not 82%. That's for fucking sure.
And what I'll say about it, though, as far as it being a predominantly African American movie, it couldn't be done with white people. White people don't have enough rhythm to perform in a movie as such. In fact, what I also found pretty fascinating about this is like your all-white movies from like the 90s, which is essentially what this is, just done in black form, is that they all had the token black guy in them that had to learn the culture along the way. Well, this too has the token white guy in it that has to learn the culture along the way. I think if white folk would watch Drumline and black folk would go back, what would be a comparable movie to something like this?
Well, you're not going to get any type of like coming of age band movie from the 80s. I don't know, like Breakfast Club.
Okay, maybe not Breakfast Club.
Too white though.
Wait.
That's the problem. If we can find, it could be all white movie. It just needs to be about a topic that's reasonably flavorful. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Molly Ringwald is mayonnaise personified. Like, it's
Point. Good
I would
point.
say like a movie like Rudy it may not translate to the black community because the black community is so much better at sports than we are. They'd be like, why that white boy even on the team? Like they wouldn't understand. But maybe through his tenacity, they would be like, okay, maybe we're all kind of the same, just a little bit. And then watching Drumline, it's like, oh, maybe we're all a little bit Nick Cannon. So maybe I think I think if you could maybe put like some white supremacists in the room with Antifa, like maybe we could have like a little bit of a conversation in this country to get us somewhere.
Like higher learning.
Look, I think you're right. I think you're on to something. But there's always like, there's the risk, right? Let me play devil's advocate. Let me be like,
Okay.
a fucking conservative guy fucking watches Drumline and he was like, he's never going to succeed because he's a inner city thug. Look at him. He can't deal with authority. And then he turns the movie off. And then he just goes through the rest of his life being like, them inner city thugs, they can't make drum lines because they can't comport themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a contingent that watches that movie and is like, see, N-word. Like, they're going to think something like out of pocket for no fucking reason.
But if they finish the film,
If they do,
the film,
yeah.
Yeah. This to me, this also had like a very like Coach. Do you guys remember Coach?
yeah,
Christ, what was the Unnecessary Roughness? You have Atlanta A&T, so you got to have the fake college, and then it's this hard ass. It kind of, first of all, it separated the marching band from this like militant style, left, right, left, and we're going to play John Philip Sousa at halftime. There was a hip hop element to it. Christ, I remember around that time when Vince Carter got drafted, they showed him. He wasn't in the band, but he was a band leader at his high school. And they showed a video of it, and these motherfuckers were like getting down at halftime. Vince Carter didn't play football. These motherfuckers. This turned into like, and I'm not saying this as an insult. It was like a goddamn, like a goddamn jamboree going on at halftime. It was a show, and I think Drumline tried to bridge that gap between what people, marching band is cool. Okay, marching band is cool. This was made in 2002. But then it got into this thing where it was like, you are going to work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life. And these guys doing all these push-ups and shit. And I was like, fuck, man, I get that marching band is strenuous. It requires a certain amount of physical activity. But don't sit here and be like, this is it. You're going to drag this goddamn snare drum around. And you're going to be a goddamn machine. You're going to be more in shape than the fucking football team. That's where I was like, all right, this is a bit corny. But it had to be corny to an extent.
I will say though, that's one of the cultural things, right? Like, they take that shit that seriously down there. Like,
Sure.
So, yeah, like, I agree with you. I was like, what? Go and see, why are they hazing him in the rain? He just plays a snare drum, and he doesn't even have to carry it. It's strapped to him. Like, I don't understand. But they do take that shit super. That shit's more important than their shitty football teams.
True.
Like,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, you don't go to the Grambling game to watch Grambling. You fucking go for the band.
Yeah, to the fictitious Atlanta A&T.
Correct.
The football or the marching band superseded the football team. The other thing that was pimped too was also that they had that homecoming game where the opposing teams what was it the opposing team's band broke out the baby powder, and then Nick
that's
and then
right.
started playing it, and a riot broke out. That was not choreographed, man. It was like fighting each other at the half field.
Like
and,
that right there, that would have been like, see, they can't have nice things. There's gonna be one white guy who sits down to watch that shit and be like, that's why. And like,
now, why would he hit his drum?
why would he do that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to know that's disrespectful.
He egged him on. Well, you know what? I'm not saying I don't condone it, but he deserved it. You know what if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
That
And why in the world would they put two bands on the same field during a homecoming? They got to know these people. The tensions are high. All right, so it's a rivalry, and it's going to get out of hand.
He definitely was gonna say these people.
and these band leaders, they don't have control. They don't have control of their players. It's just
A fight's breaking out. They're still chopping their hands up and down with the goddamn baton in their hand, like they're still leading something.
It's like next year they need to increase police presence. That's all I know.
It's like West Side Story broke out. That's what they should have played. West Side Story kept things civil.
they need to lead them down to the penitentiary, if you ask me.
Why did two white guys and a Nicaraguan guy start making fun of white people?
Why not?
Because we're ripe for it.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's easy picking sometimes.
Oh. But I will also say I was a little I don't know, man. You had old Zoe Saldana.
So young and Zoe Saldana. Yeah,
Well, young, you can't tell. There's no difference between like whatever.
that's true. Chocolate don't age, sir.
Oh man. Oh, just as fresh as the day it was packaged. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that, my friends, is my official review of my good bad movie, Drumline. I recommend, but don't look to be blown away, but just look to be like, hey, we're all the same. It's a cultural movie that should be cherished by all.
Yeah, look to be snared away.
God damn it.
Shit. Yeah, good bad movie review. And this is like a Nick Cannon coming of age story too. That's when he was starting to break in the mold of like rapper actor.
Yeah, this is like pre-15 kids, Nick Cannon. Like, yeah.
I will say, very charming. He plays a very charming character, which I don't think is very far from his own character.
Yeah, that's why that guy's still hosting shows and shit. Like, they're still paying that guy a ton of money because of that fucking charisma, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just goes around fucking like openly knocking up broads for funsies, and they're just like, yeah, definitely host this daytime show. Here,
Hey, have you ever seen Drumline? No? Yeah, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Shit. Alan, tell all the Drumline wannabes and all the snare drummers and bass drummers and marching band dreamers where you can listen to and find the middle class holes.
find us at Bill's Music, Catonsville, Frederick Road. No, you can fucking find us on all your favorite social media platforms. We're at MDL Class Holes on Instagram and Twitter. We're the Middle Class Holes on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. Got it that time. And for your listening pleasures, please check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. That's right. Don't miss anything?
Yeah, no, not
Damn.
don't worry about it. I think you'd be good. Only 3 comments this week. Let's see. This comes from the Hogan brothers, not related. We were talked about Paul Hulk and Ben. Invader00 says, "Good try, mate." Does say mate. You're closer to an Australian accent than a New Zealand accent. New Zealand is a deeper tone.
Oh, well, thank you.
I appreciate any type of comments, suggestions, love, views, clicks, or whatever from our New Zealand. Can we say brethren?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure we can.
Okay.
Can we come down there and fucking, I don't know, what do you do in New Zealand? Drink wine?
So wait, they say okay.
Right.
So wait, so all right, I guess just get the accent right here. So they're saying that New Zealand is deeper. So if I was to say that's not a knife, that's a knife. So then if I was to do it in Kiwi, I'd go, that's not a knife, that's a knife.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Invader00, hook us up.
You
actually listen to us.
yeah, it's what, like it's 10, 12 a.m. there. I mean, basing this off of my very brief, like Paul Hogan, what fucks all of us up, steals our Coke and something or other. That's I have no idea. The sample size is small, so.
All right, fair enough. I'll do some more research.
All right.
Not gonna lie.
Next, coming from TikTok, white people and skeletons. Murr and Alan, this was where you two were arguing about skeletons in the closet between white people and brown people. Wheatus official fan page says, as a white Mexican, I can vouch that milk people are the most passive aggressive.
He called y'all milk people.
He's not wrong. He's not
not
wrong. No. They're definitely not wrong. I agree with Alan to an extent. I just think our friend base, we're pretty in your face. Like we've always been. We've always fucked with each other with what we know about each other, and we know a lot about each other. And so, at least in our local Perryville friend group, we are like that. But I would say in the general consensus of the American population, yes. Hallmark holiday movies are fairly accurate based on the general population.
Yeah.
Yeah. Milk people. He's right.
Milk people. I'm going to use that. That's going into the old vocabulary box. Milk people. Finally, coming out of YouTube Shorts, convert a Jehovah's Witness. Ryan Toth. This is more of a. I put this in here because I asked, he didn't answer. Maybe you guys can decode this encrypted message. I saw that movie again recently. There's some sort of movie revolving around Jehovah's Witnesses.
I don't think so. Did we talk about one?
Well, no, we were talking about what would it take to convert a Jehovah's Witness to be a normal person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that movie again recently. And I said, what movie? Hasn't responded. So I figured I'd just ask you two guys, like, hey, was there something about a Jehovah's Witness?
Nah, there's probably some popular movie that's very similar in plot line to what we were talking about, and he was just trying to mock
Kingpin?
us.
Kingpin?
Maybe.
What was
Trying
it?
to
With Brandon Quaid?
Yeah, I mean, that's Amish, but it's the best I can do.
That's not it. I don't think. Did we talk about Passion of the Christ for any reason? Maybe he watched that recently.
I need to watch Kingpin. That's a good movie I haven't seen in a while.
That is a great movie. Yeah, I don't. Hey, guy who commented, come fucking answer, Wes.
Ryan Toth. I'll see if I can ping him again and say, hey, look, we gave you a shout out on the old podcast, and you came up short, bro.
Yeah, what platform was that on?
YouTube. It's a short.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, folks. Hey, look, if you're down in Florida, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cuba, Aruba, I don't know, U.S. Virgin Island, Puerto Rico, Mexico, let us know how this seaweed
Huff the seaweed.
is
Hashtag huff the weed. But the seaweed, not regular weed.
Nostradamus has foreseen your future, and it's a lot of huffing seaweed for the next 6 to 8 months.
But what you should not do is get into a K-hole before you huff it, though. That'll get you. That'll be problematic.
Good night, everybody.